Today I will be telling you about the benefits of homeschool compared to traditional education. Traditional school is the accepted form of education in our nation. I have experienced both traditional and homeschool education in my short life. In my experience, I believe that homeschooling has several advantages over traditional class. Let me try to convince you that I am right. I will discuss how homeschool is more efficient and has less wasted time than the classroom, and I'll discuss the advantages of individualized learning. I will also discuss some studies that prove some myths about poor socialization and homeschooling aren't true. One reason why homeschool is more productive than public school because you can learn at your own pace. In some cases, going at your own pace might be spending more time on subjects that you don't understand or might mean really excelling in that subject that you understand. Students can review a lesson that they don't understand over and over again. They could also read the lesson once and move on if they already understand the topic, instead of spending 45 to 50 minutes listening about it. This allows advanced students to get through more work during that time. In homeschool, if you are struggling with math, you don't have to spend an hour in English when you could be working in math. This is the best advantage in homeschool. Individualized lesson plans allow children to get ahead in subjects that come easier to them. Homeschooling is more efficient than traditional school. There's a lot of wasted or downtime in a regular school day. In a public school, you spend 6.5 hours at school. Only about 3.5 hours of that time is actually spent learning. The other 2.5 hours is spent changing classes, snack, recess, lunch, or other activities, etc. At the start of each class, you spend 5 minutes organizing supplies, taking attendance, and settling down. At the end of 5 minutes is spent putting up books and preparing to switch classes. Knowing that information, we can say 3 hours of the day is wasted. That doesn't sound like much at first, but when you add up the hours every week, you are wasting 15 hours in school that you aren't learning. 15 hours per week times 36 weeks in a school year is 540 hours, or 83 school days at 6.5 hours each. Eliminating this wasted time allows students to have more time for other activities out of school. In a public school, there are about 30 kids in an elementary class, and there are about 30 to 40 kids in a middle school class. It is really hard for one teacher to keep this many children under control. The teacher constantly has to tell the students to be quiet and to behave well. Each minute the teacher spends on maintaining order and disciplining time that they aren't teaching the kids who want to learn. This wasted time doesn't happen in a homeschool setting. A lot of parents worry that their kids aren't going to get smarter if they work on their own. According to Homeschool Legal Defense Association, students who are homeschooled do better on standardized exams than public school students. For example, in reading, homeschool students' national average percentile scores was 89th percentile, while public school students were at 50th percentile. And these percentile scores were measured on the California Achievement Test, Iowa Test of Basic Skills, and Stanford Achievement Test, and looked at 11,739 homeschool students from all 50 states. People also worry that their kids won't have the same social skills as children in public school. According to the website educationandbehavior.com, there have been many studies which showed no significant difference between the social skills of a homeschool student and traditionally educated students. They found that homeschooled children score significantly higher on social development tests. Using tests which measure communications and daily living skills, the researchers noticed that the average scores for homeschool children was at the 84th percentile compared to the 23rd percentile for the traditionally schooled students. In conclusion, there are so many reasons that students should be homeschooled. There are many benefits to homeschooling, such as one-on-one teaching, fewer distractions, wasted time, and freedom to move faster or slower as necessary to learn. If a student would like to get smarter in the least amount of time, then homeschool should be considered as an alternate to traditional classes. Homeschool isn't for everyone. You have to be independent and disciplined to homeschool. Otherwise, there's a risk of falling behind. In homeschool, you can learn time management and learn how to be independent. If a student can learn these traits in middle school, they will most likely keep them through high school and college.
Okay, so that piece of paper there.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 5, how convincing were the presenter's arguments?
4.
Which reason did the presenter give that you found most convincing?
'Can manage your time well.
Okay. Which reason was the least convincing?
The social skills one, that's wrong.
Okay. What impressed you most about the presenter's speech?
I don't know the flow of it.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to 5, how convincing were the presenter's arguments?
3.
Okay. Which reason did the presenter give that you found the most convincing?
That you were at public school and you're homeschool.
Okay. Which reason was the least convincing?
Probably the data that you used. I think it's. I think the. I'd like to see the data, number one. But I suspect that I suspect there's some selection bias in the data that you presented.
Okay. What impressed you most about the presenter's speech?
That you're upbeat and positive. Yeah.
Okay. Lastly, on a scale of 1 to 5, how convincing were the presenter's arguments?
4.
What reason did the presenter give that you found most convincing?
I like the data that you gave where you talked about the Iowa testing, the California achievement testing, and the Stanford achievement test, because those are well-respected tests.
What reason was the least convincing?
The socialization one. I don't know that that's necessarily true for every homeschooler.
Okay. What impressed you most about the presenter's speech?
I like the way you tried to give it as if you were talking and not just reading it, with inflections in your voice and things like that.
Thank you.